Yaroslav Askarov looks for redemption as the Sharks host the LA Kings.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network, the #1 sports podcast network, where we cover your team every day. We're going to get you ready for tonight's Sharks-Kings game by looking at how both these teams match up and looking at how the Kings have kind of performed as of late. We've got new lines for the San Jose Sharks and dive into what to watch for in tonight's pivotal Pacific showdown. So let's get started by seeing how these two teams match up. I know they just played a couple weeks ago and kind of felt like that game was a bit of a turning point for the San Jose Sharks. So Kings 10-6-4 with 24 points. The Sharks 9-8-3 with 21 points. The Kings offense still off to a slow start this season. 2.65 goals for per game, 26th in the NHL. The defense, though, 2.7 goals allowed, 6th best in the NHL. The Sharks offense at 2.95 goals for per game, which is 22nd. The goals allowed 3.20, also 22nd in the NHL. The power play for the Kings 16.4, 24th, and the PK 79.1, 17th. The Sharks power play is slightly better at 18.8. The PK is slightly worse at 78.1, which is good also for 22nd in the NHL. So both teams kind of similar in a lot of aspects, except for when it comes to the defense from the Kings, which is, I think the big indicator in this game. Goals, Fiala leads the Kings with 9. Kempe leads with 13 assists and 19 points. And of course, Celebrini, 13 goals, 17 assists for 30 points so far in 20 games for Macklin Celebrini. This Kings team struggles to score. They struggle to create goals. They struggle to finish said goals that they do create. And that has been kind of their bugaboo this season. But the defense has been good at shutting things down and not giving up a ton of goals. But the special teams, like I said, both have been not as impressive as you would expect for a Kings especially the PK, a Kings defense that is so good. As for the Kings, Fiala, Byfield, Kempe just got paid, Kuzmenko, Kopitar, and more. I know the Sharks got Kopitar a gift as it's his last game in San Jose as he's retiring at the end of the season. So it's weird, but nice to see. Fogel, Danault, and Lafayette on the third line. Armia, Turcotte, old friend Corey Perry on the fourth line. Anderson, Dumoulin, Edmondson, Brandt Clark, and Moveri, Ceci, and then Forsberg is starting in net for the Kings. For the Sharks, a little bit tweaks here with the lines. Khrushchev, Celebrini, Smith remains intact. Eklund, Wenberg, Toffoli. As we talked about after the last game, I'd like to see that Eklund Wenberg line get a little bit more scoring pop. Putting in Toffoli there makes a ton of sense. Gaudette, Delandry, Graf, which has been a really positive line. Goodrow, Ostapchuk, and Reeves as well. Orlov, Liljegren, Ferraro, Klingberg, Dickinson, Desharnais. So Klingberg and Liljegren both come back in, and then Askarov is starting tonight for the San Jose Sharks. I think that sets it up, especially the back-to-back this weekend. Askarov now and Nedeljkovic on Saturday, and then Askarov again on Sunday against the Bruins. So that's assuming how we'll probably see things here. So, but I think what to watch for, speaking on Askarov, is he's the first thing I'm watching for, right? He's been playing extremely well. This game had that soft goal, of course, in the last game. But you think back to the last time these two teams played, right, where Askarov gave up 4 goals on 14 shots. And, some of them were his fault, some of them weren't, but still not a great performance. And then since that moment, right, Askarov has flipped the switch and been a much better player. So I want to see the Askarov redemption game tonight, right, of kind of making up for a game where the Sharks dominated. If you remember, the Sharks dominated the Kings in that game, but the Kings took advantage of their opportunities. So I want to see the Askarov redemption game tonight. And if he can kind of get over this one little hurdle, right, kind of put this bad game to bed and really shut down this Kings offense, which has struggled this year, but admittedly has been playing a little bit better as of late. This is a King team that has won 4 out of 5. All of these on the road. They went on a massive road trip that started on November 6th, and this is their last road game before they head home. I do wonder if they went home because they played on Monday in Washington. I wouldn't be surprised if they went home to LA and then traveled back up for a day, but who knows? Anyway. But the Kings offense started to kind of get on track here a little bit more. They've been winning some more games. They've been kind of locking things down a little bit better defensively. So I think this is a really good opportunity for Askarov to kind of put that game behind as the Sharks continue to move forward. I do want to see Toffoli. Toffoli's another thing I'm watching tonight, who has not looked really himself. I know he's been dealing with an injury as well, undisclosed upper body injury, and he just hasn't really looked like himself. So we're getting the Wenberg, Eklund, Toffoli line put back together here. And I want it, the Sharks have needed a little bit more scoring from elsewhere. So I want to see if this Toffoli reunion with Eklund and Wenberg, if that's where the Sharks can potentially get some scoring from, because you can't just assume Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith are going to, provide 3 goals for you every game. It's just not a realistic scenario. So can the Sharks get some scoring from this second line here, because they really could use some scoring from the second line. Other thing I'm watching for is the fourth line and Corey Perry. We know Corey Perry, Shark killer throughout his career, right? Even the last time these two teams played, Corey Perry was in on the first, he was in on multiple goals, whether he was actually scored them or on the score sheets or not. He was in on a lot of the chaos there with the Kings. So how do the Sharks try to limit this fourth line? And Ostapchuk played one of his best games in San Jose last game. Can this fourth line continue to build on it and limit Corey Perry and that raccoon, digging through the garbage that is the front of the net? So that, I think, is a big storyline. Is as weird as it sounds, shutting down Corey Perry and not letting him feast in front of the net, because that's what he does. So I think this is going to be a really competitive game. I think the Kings are are ready to go home. They've had a really successful road trip, and this is probably going to be that nice kind of cherry on. They're feeling like cherry on top game, right? Where you can come off a 6-game road trip with 4 wins, and really 5 wins. No, 4 wins. My bad. Yep, nope, 5. My bad. Put this cherry on top of what's been a very successful road trip. I feel like that's what they're looking for, right? And for the Sharks, you kind of got away with one last game, right? Where against the Mammoth, where you got out to a really hot start, tried to kind of coast, and then Celebrini's heroics went into it. I think they're also thinking about the last game that these two teams played. So I expect the Kings to start out strong again, to try to kind of get up, try to put the Sharks down a goal or two, and try to kind of coast into the finish line here. But I think the Sharks fight back, and then I do think the Sharks win. I really like how they're playing. I think we get I think I'm going to call a William Eklund goal. I think that second line scores tonight for the Sharks, and I think the Sharks really start to kind of climb back into this thing. So we'll break it down tonight on your next episode of Locked On Sharks, wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tonight, bye, friends.